members take pride in our roots. We grew up on farms, we live on farms, and we serve farms every day. At Armor Animal Health, our state-of-the-art lab offers affordable herd health tests with quality service. Testing is simple. Send your sample via the mail and our team will deliver rapid results, ensuring your herd remains at peak performance to keep you profitable. Our customers have trusted us with over 4.4 million tests for BVD and other herd health indicators. Armor Animal Health believes prevention is the best medicine. Contact us today to try our integrated approach with our lab, products, and veterinarians.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for Armor Animal Health's video series, Have You Heard? My name is Leslie Gravatt, and I've been with Armor for just over 9 years now. I'm originally from Minnesota, where I've always had an interest in ag and animals. Growing up, I spent many of my weekends on my cousin's cow-calf operation or showing dogs in sports. I did go to the University of Minnesota and received an animal science degree in animal production systems. I currently reside in Waterloo, Wisconsin, which is just about 30 minutes northeast of Madison. We have a small hobby farm there that I share with my fiance, dogs, and cats. Presently, continue to spend several weekends a month competing and training in flyball, disc, lure coursing, and herding with our dogs. For Armor, I am the veterinary relations manager, so I work with diagnostics, milk quality, support our veterinarians, our sales, and our producers. So it's great to see that we have so many joining us today. It looks like we have viewers from Georgia, from New York, and from Exonia, Wisconsin, and Central Wisconsin. So thanks for tuning in today. Would like to ask you guys a question though. I was wondering if you guys have ever considered taking samples on your farm and shipping those to a lab. But there are some concerns that come up, like how you're able to do this efficiently and safely, and how do you even start doing this. So today we're going to be sharing the ins and outs of taking and shipping lab samples. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen, and I know your time is valuable, so let's get started. Today we do have our lab director, Heidi Anderson, with us. Heidi, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, hi. I'm Heidi Anderson. I've been running the lab here for Armor for about 15 years. I'm born and raised in Oregon, where the lab's located. I got my degree in molecular biology from the University of Oregon. Love working in the lab, love getting samples and turning out results, and we've been doing it for a lot of years here. So the lab techs as well. One of them has been here for 15 years and one's been here for 3. So we got a lot of experience behind us in the lab.
Thanks, Heidi. So first off, we're going to review what types of testing we're talking about. When we talk about testing, first off, we're looking at testing for BVD, which is bovine viral diarrhea virus. With that, you're able to test dairy, beef, llama, alpaca, your yaks, your buffalo, and you're able to run that on ear notch, blood, or milk sample. Another test that we can run is bovine leukosis virus, which would be BLV. And those we're going to be looking at testing on our dairy and beef animals. And so we'd be submitting either blood or milk. We're looking at pregnancy testing that can be run on dairy, beef, sheep, goat, or buffalo. And we can run that either on blood or on milk. We're looking at doing Yoni's testing, be looking at dairy and beef animals, and that would again be blood or milk. We're checking for Neospora, again sticking with our good old dairy and beef animals, and again that one is only going to be tested on blood. We're going to be looking at any mastitis pathogens, looking for the DNA of those. We can check on dairy, beef, sheep, and goats. And of course, since we're running mastitis testing, we're only going to be testing the milk.
Yeah, so once you know what kind of test you want to run, we just need to know what kind of supplies do we need to run the tests or to get the samples taken to send them to the lab. So most of our tests, you're going to need red top tubes. You can use 10 mil, 7 mil, 5 mil red top tubes. These are good for blood samples or ear notch samples. You can even put milk in these. They send really well in the mail. For doing ear notches, you're going to need an ear notcher. This is a small swine ear notcher. You can use small or medium. It's up to you on your preference. This tube already has an ear notch in it with a small ear notcher taken in there. So some people prefer to have the big wide mouth tubes. It's easier to put the ear notches in than some of the smaller size tubes. So again, it's up to you. We just want to make sure that it's a clean, dry red top tube. You're going to want to get a fine tip Sharpie. Writes really well on the paper labels on these tubes. That way, you know, good handwriting is also important on these, so a fine tip Sharpie works really well. For taking ear notches, you're going to want to rinse your ear notcher in between samples. So I think Leslie has some examples here of some of the disinfectant you can use in between notching. Chlorhexidine solution there. A good way to do it is to make your chlorhexidine solution with water and then have a couple of pails. So calf pails work really well. Have a pail of your chlorhexidine solution and then a pail of water, and just take your ear notcher, notch the ear, and then dip the ear notcher into the chlorhexidine and then shake it off, and then dip it right back into the pail of water, shake it off, and go to your next animal. So if you're running the animals by you, just keep your buckets there. Some people like to keep smaller buckets and just kind of move down the line. So that's up to you. It's kind of a preference. But those would be the items that you would need to get started: a small or medium ear notcher, red top tubes, some sort of disinfectant solution, and some pails, and you're off to a good start.
Thanks, Heidi. If also, if we're looking at taking a blood sample versus an ear notch, then we, need some different supplies. So you can still use your red top tubes. So, like how Heidi had presented before, red top tubes would work well. You would need to use a Vacutainer holder and Vacutainer needles, or you would need to use a syringe and needle combo set. Whichever method that you're going to be wanting to do, I would recommend to have a clean, fresh needle and syringe with each sample that you do take. If you are doing, using the needles, you're going to want to have a sharps container nearby so that you're able to dispose those needles properly. Then also, if you're going to be looking at taking milk samples, you're going to want to use, or you can use, a milk vial with preservative tablet. There are two different sizes. There's an 11 mil or a 30 mil, and I think Heidi is going to show us here a couple different types.
Mm-hmm. This one has a locking mechanism on the tube, so that one's real good for keeping it from opening up during shipping. These Snapcat milk tubes work very well as well. We don't need a lot of milk. A couple mils is plenty of milk, so don't send me a gallon jug. Those don't ship well. They tend to leak. The other recommendation is putting vials in a Ziploc bag, a small Ziploc bag if you're just sending one or two. That way, if the container leaks, I can always use the milk that's leaked out into the Ziploc bag. But if it's not in here, then we usually can't use it. You can, if you have multiple tubes, I do recommend, especially on a bulk tank, we don't want to have them leak and contaminate each other. So put them all in their own little Ziploc bag. You can just buy the little $1.50 bag at the grocery store of all the Ziploc bags. And it just, you spend a lot of time and energy getting these samples, so you want them to travel well. So those for milk, you can always go down as well to the local grocery store or a dollar store and buy a travel shampoo bottle that's empty that has a screw cap. If you don't have any access to the milk tubes, you can always improvise with a dry screw top cap lid that you can bottle and lid that you can find at most stores.
Thanks, Heidi. Just wanted to remind our viewers that if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to leave a comment, and we will be getting to those at the conclusion of our talk here. So Heidi, could you possibly demonstrate to us how we are going to want to be taking an ear notch, the location of the ear, and how we can actually perform that sample collection?
Sure. So we have a graphic that shows you where on the ear you're going to want to take the ear notch. You're going to want to take it on the outer third of the ear at the top. That's kind of the easiest place to take it. We're not looking for a huge piece of ear, about a third of the size of dime there. So that graphic shows you how large. So if you have your ear and it's sitting out like that, you can see the notches that are already out of this one. So you can just grab a hold of the end of the ear and just go up and take a notch right out like that. If you can see, we want to make sure that we get some of the skin. We need the hair follicles. So if you're taking a notch and it's not visible like this and you've just snipped off a tip of the hair, you're going to want to retake a notch there. So that you can actually see that we're getting the follicles and the skin. So then once you've got your notch, pull it out of the ear notcher here. Now that this one's stuck in there. So you've got your notch, you can see, the little pieces of skin. It's got skin, it's got hair. You want to take your red top tube that you've got and open it up. And just drop the ear notch in there dry. We don't want any formalin. We don't want any sort of liquids whatsoever in there. Just send it in a dry tube like that. Cap it back up. And then on the outside of the tube, you're going to want to write the animal ID, or you can just number your tubes 1 to the end. If you're doing several of these, it's easier to have them pre-numbered at home. You can sit there and do them in the evening, number them 1 to the end. And then you can keep track on paperwork like this. You can put tube number 1, the animal ID 3224. You can write that right on the tube, and then we've got something to cross-reference when it comes into the lab. In case we can't read the tube, we can always go back and look. So just a lot of double checking, but that's it's pretty simple. I can do it at my desk here in the office. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and ask.
Well, thanks, Heidi. So now that we know what tests that we're going to be running and how to acquire the sample, we should probably look at how we want to ship to the lab out in Portland. So at Armor, we have put together some prepaid postal boxes. This is a small box that has this shipping prepaid label on it, and then the submission form and supplies inside to send out your sample. This would be an example of a large that you would receive. And then when you do receive these, you're going to be getting your box. So it will come flattened. All I did with this so far is I put it together, put a piece of packing tape underneath, and put my insulated pouch within my box. And so I will also get submission form to fill out and send in, some extra bags. We use this to put our samples in so we don't have any spillage. And then you'll also receive some ice packs in the kit. We have a couple different kits. We have some that just have the shipping in the ice packs. We have some that would include blood tubes in them, and then also some that includes some milk vials with preservative tablets. So Heidi, would you be able to show and discuss how we should be filling out the submission form?
Yeah, sure. Do we have a graphic, or do you want me to just show it?
I believe, yeah, we have that up on our screen right now.
Yeah, so the most important thing is who are you and how do you want your results and what tests do you want run. So you want to fill out the top, letting us know who you are, what type of operation you are, and then you want to fill out what tests you want run on your sample, and then let us know how you want your results. Do you want them faxed to you? Do you want a copy sent to your vet? Do you want them emailed? Just let us know as much information as you can. Your Armor account number on there for ease of billing. If you're not a current Armor customer, then just leave it blank and we'll contact you and get you set up. But it's really important that that comes in with the samples, because sometimes we get them and it doesn't come in with the samples, and then we're kind of at a loss as to what test you want run and where to send the results and who's sending it in. There's also a sample submission list on the back side of that form right there that's for you to be able to write down your tube number, again, your 1 to the end, and then writing the animal ID right next to it. That way you don't have to fill the whole tube with the animal ID if you don't want to. You give us a nice list there of what you want to see on your report. Some people just want to see 1 to 20 on their report, and that's it. They have their own list at home of what the animal IDs are, and some people would like all the animal IDs written out for them on the paperwork, and that's fine as well. We can type all that up on a report that you'll get back.
Well, thanks, Heidi, for explaining how to fill out the form. So we have the form completed. I'm just going to fold this for now. And I'm going to take my box of blood tubes that I have my ear notches all in. And again, like Heidi said, that we are using red top tubes because I'm sending in ear notches. So we do not want to use any tube that has any type of preservative in it if we're going to be sending in ear notches. And I'm just going to take it and put it in my bag, hopefully. I'm going to put it in my bag, and I'm going to secure my tubes. I'm going to twist the top here, fold it down, and put a piece of packing tape across the bottom. So then this way, if there is a little bit of jostling within the shipping box, my blood tubes do not come out. I'm going to put them into my shipping box here. And I have secured an extra foam insulator next to these blood tubes so that they, again, don't roll around. I'm going to put my ice pack in here. Heidi, how many ice packs should I be putting in my shipping pack?
Yeah, not necessary to have too many ice packs. 1 ice pack per box of 100 is plenty. Again, these are going to get to us in a couple of days. In the summer, you might want to add an extra one if it's going to sit in your car for an hour while you drive to the post office. Maybe throw an extra ice pack in there, but no more than 1 per 100 is necessary.
So since I have 2 today, I'm going to throw an extra second one in there because I think it's supposed to maybe get to 80 degrees this weekend. I'm hoping. So we'll put that in there just in case. And then now I'm just going to close my insulated pouch. There's kind of a little trick to doing it, but you kind of want to accordioning it in. And then I'm going to fold the top down. And then I'm going to peel off. There's a strip on the top here that will secure it to itself here. So now my insulated pouch is nice and tight and secure. I'll put it back in my box. I'll take my submission form and put it on top. But before I do that, I'm going to put it in another bag just in case there happened to be any leakage. That way Heidi knows for sure whose these samples are when they're sent in. And then now I've got my box folded. I've put my packing tape. I have it all secure. And one thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to take a picture of this label so that I have the tracking number in case I have a question where things are at. You know, I know postal workers do their best, but sometimes things happen. So we want to make sure that we know where the samples are at, and you can feel free to check them anytime. When I do mail these out, I will usually put them in the mail on Monday, Tuesday of the week. Heidi, why is that important to ship it on the Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, the post office usually tries to get it to us in 2 days. We just don't want it to sit over the weekend. If it sits over the weekend, by the time it gets to us on Monday, it can smell pretty bad. So we want to try to minimize that. So shipping on Monday and Tuesday will generally get it to us by Friday. It's not the end of the world if it goes over the weekend. We can majority of the time still use the samples, but we definitely want to try to avoid having them sit somewhere over the weekend, especially during the summer months. Yeah.
Thanks, Heidi. And you know, since these are prepaid packages for the postal, can also ship via UPS, FedEx, DHL. And when we are shipping, we want to make sure that we're shipping them to Portland, which is the location where our lab is, and not necessarily to Wisconsin. With that, the address is on our submission form, so it's pretty easy to find if you are downloading our submission form from our website or using our prepaid, you know, postal box. You don't even have to worry about the address because it's already on there.
Mm-hmm.
So Heidi, do you have anything else to add for shipping wise that our viewers should probably know?
I would just suggest that if you're not going to buy the shipping pack from Armor, there's a lot of ways that you can secure the tubes. Saran wrap, taping newspaper over the top, or taping any sort of paper over the top. We just want to make sure the most important thing in shipping is secure the tubes, secure the tubes, secure the tubes. Especially blood. We don't want a big dripping bloody box to show up because it happens all the time. So just make sure that the tubes are secure in the cardboard box that they come in. If you don't have the cardboard box, that's okay. Put them in a Ziploc bag, wrap it up kind of tight, wrap some bubble wrap around it, slide it into the box. It doesn't have to be secured in the cardboard box, especially if you're sending less than 100. Just, you know, use common sense. Don't just throw a bunch of blood tubes in an empty box and ship them and expect them to make it to us in one piece. So we've seen people throw their shop towels in there and wrap around them. They've thrown blankets. We've even had samples arrive that were wrapped in clean baby diapers because that must have been all that they had. And it was great soft material to use in the box. So just make sure to secure your tubes.
Yep, thanks, Heidi. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes maybe the delivery people get bored. They might want to play soccer a little bit with the packages, so we want to make sure that things do not break. I know it doesn't happen very often, but accidents do happen. So let's see what questions we maybe have coming in here. Bear with me for a moment. I need to access my mouse. So it looks like we did have a question about how often producers should be testing. So if they're just starting testing for BVD, what would be the recommended schedule?
Sure. So BVD, we're looking for persistently infected animals. So the animal needs to be tested just once in its lifetime because once a PI, always a PI. They're born that way. We have people send them in on all their babies, their new calf crop. If you've never tested before, testing your whole herd is pretty important. And then after you've tested your whole herd, testing your calf crop on the second year is important. Anything new that you bring in, even if it's your child's 4-H animal that's going to be on the property for only a limited amount of time, super important. Any new animal that you introduce, that's got to be your first priority for testing. Any animals you purchase, even if they say they've been tested, I would personally want to test them myself. So again, anything that you bring in that's new, if you're a first-time tester, then test your whole herd. We do offer bulk tank milk testing. It's an easy, efficient way for a dairy to test their whole herd at the same time by sending in a bulk tank sample. They can get a pretty good picture of what their BVD status is. But again, BVD is one of those things that once you've tested once in a lifetime, then you're good.
Okay, well, thanks, Heidi. Let's see what other questions we have here. So we do have a person asking that they had pulled samples yesterday, but they forgot to bring them to the post office. Is it still okay for them to send the next day, or should they resample?
No, absolutely. We recommend after you take your notch samples, if you can get them into a refrigerator or a freezer as soon as possible, that's the most ideal situation. I get it though, things get left outside overnight, and then you remember it the next day. It's all still fine to send. Now, if they sit in your car trunk in the summer for 3 weeks, we might want to talk about resampling those. But definitely if they've been in a fridge or a freezer, in a freezer, they can last for several months before you have to send them and test them. In the fridge, a handful of weeks, and then you can send them in. But yeah, there's no rush, no hurry. Once you take them, keep them cool and send them at some point as soon as you can.
Thanks, Heidi. So that does kind of answer, Pamela had asked a question about should the samples be refrigerated prior to shipping? And so kind of based on that, you would recommend that, yes.
Yeah, if you can refrigerate the samples. Again, blood samples, we don't want to freeze, but your notch samples for sure you can freeze. We like to have them refrigerated. We do have some people that take them that day and just go straight to the post office with them. So it's not necessary, but if you're going to keep them overnight or keep them for any length of time, stick them in a fridge or a freezer for sure.
And just to clarify for our viewers, we had went through the species of animals that we test for, but we currently do not test any samples, any testing for dogs or cats, correct, Heidi?
Right, yeah, no small animal at this time, yep.
Well, I think that is it for our questions that have come in. So thank you for asking those. Again, thanks for joining us today. Hopefully you've learned something new. Feel free to reach out to Heidi or myself, and we'd be happy to discuss things further. We can go through the process again as to how to take and how to submit the samples to our lab. You can share with your friends this video series on Facebook. Just also a reminder that it has been recorded, so you'll be able to view it anytime on our Facebook page or also our wonderful YouTube channel. And if you are watching this as a recorded version, feel free to ask questions. We will get back to you on those once we do see those coming in. And we do look forward to, in 2 weeks, on March 18th, to be back with you guys for our next Have You Heard. It will be with Dr. JP from Zoetis and Lori, and they're going to be discussing solutions when antibiotics fail in cattle. So until next time, keep sampling. Have a good day.